Come in from the cold and gather under evergreen shadows, where Yule's ancient warmth still glows, and the winter woods hum with quiet wonder. Welcome to the Hollow and Bough podcast. Hello, Raven and Bramble. How's things going?
I'm tired. I mean, if we're so honest right now.
Yeah, this winter weather and time, and it's dark at 4 o'clock in the afternoon is gets to you a little bit.
Like, let me just curl up in a ball. Like, hey, rabbit. Do rabbits hibernate? I could totally hibernate.
Just come down and visit the palm trees. It's beautiful down here.
Ugh.
Yeah, but then we have to deal with all the old folks.
And the
Not in that part.
politicians.
You do have to deal with politicians, but you'd have to deal more with tourists, which are even more annoying than the old folks.
Oh my god, let's all go to Disney!
God no.
You can.
Not unless you want to get trampled.
I know, it's that time of year. Everybody's trying to get Disney trips in. So, this is another special episode. We know we've been kind of bad about keeping up towards the end of this year, but you know what? Things get crazy. We all have busy schedules and lives. So, it's another one of our holiday episodes. Yay!
Yay!
And basically, it's probably one of the bigger ones of the year. It's Yule. So,
Yay!
It's cold, the sun's going down a lot sooner, and we're all afraid it's never going to come back.
Yeah.
Sounds like living in Seattle.
Oh, that's only because it rains all the time. There is no sun.
Yeah, if we see a bit of blue sky, we count it as a sunny day.
Oh my gosh.
Literally. Having grown up there, I can tell you that.
So before we get into the nitty gritty of the deliciousness of Yule, I think it's appropriate if we all take turns saying prayers to, honor Yule this year. You know what? Raven, as a residential crone, you get to go first.
Thank you.
Did you just call her old?
Yeah, but it's okay.
Now I call it residential.
Oh God, I don't think that's any better.
The village crazy lady over here.
Hey, I'll take it. I want to get that shirt with like the little manta ray from Moana. I'll take that role, thank you.
Oh my
I
gosh.
mean, yes, I absolutely.
Alright. On this longest night we gather in stillness and flame. We honor the dark that cradles the light in this time of roots and embers. This is the season of endurance, of bones in the earth and embers kept alive by will. I honor the deep night, not as an ending, but a darkness cradling what is yet to come. May what is finished fall away without struggle. May what waits in shadow be given space to breathe and come forth. I call in peace, resilience, and truth as the light begins its slow return.
Mother Hecate, guide us in darkness. Angel Michael, defend us in battle. Guide us through this season of darkness, and be with us always.
Freya, weaver of magic and fate, on this sacred solstice night, guide our dreams, stir our intuition, and help us see the paths we are meant to walk. Hail Freya, who leads us through the dark. So,
I
darkest
feel like
night.
Ravens was the longest.
Do what?
Ravens was definitely the longest.
Yeah, you know how these old folks go. They like to ramble.
Yeah, it's the whole ceremonial thing. I gotta take it where I can because I don't do it on rituals.
So, yeah, it's the longest night of the year. And, Yule's not what we think it is, and of course, pretty much this episode, we're going to do kind of like we did for Samhain. We're going to dive into what brought Yule about and how all the different traditions came to give us what we have now, which is Christmas, and then of course we have Hanukkah. So basically for this episode of talking about Yule, we're kind of going to follow the same structure that we did for Samhain. I'm going to do a quick history lesson, well, maybe a little bit longer than a quick history lesson, basically about Yule and the different pagan rituals that came before everything, and then how it's all become this great modernization of Christmas. And then, of course, how Yule has come back into the mainstream. And then, afterwards, we're going to talk about some of our favorite traditions that we celebrate and how we plan on celebrating Yule this year. You know, because that's the whole point of this, is the interchanging of knowledge between coven mates is the best way to put it. So, if everyone's ready, I'll get ready to get started talking about Yule. Today we're going to talk about the history, myth, culture, and seasonal chaos that mingle together like ornaments on a tree that a cat will absolutely knock over before morning. We're traveling deep into winter's oldest traditions, the ones that existed long before peppermint mochas, mall Santas, and inflatable snowmen with suspiciously loud air pumps. We're going to explore Yule, the ancient Northern European festival that helped shape modern Christmas. And along the way, we're going to wander through the forest of myth, peek in on solstice celebrations across the world, and trace the surprisingly twisty road that brought these customs to the United States, where they eventually merged into the holiday we know today. And at the end, we'll look at how modern pagans have brought Yule back into contemporary practice in a way that's reverent, joyful, and occasionally involves fire. And we hope they do so safely. So throw a log on the hearth, metaphorically or literally, and settle in. And walk with the hollow and bow to the frozen north. Think about it like this. It's the dead of winter in Scandinavia, maybe about 1,500 years ago. The sun hasn't bothered...
It's okay, you're old, we get it.
Anyway. Hush, youngin'. Don't make me get the switches. The sun hasn't bothered to show up for more than a few hours a day. Snow lies and drifts taller than your livestock. And someone in the village, probably the bard, or maybe just the person who can't sleep, looks up at the sky and says, "Hey, is that a ghostly army charging through the night?" Welcome to Yule, or Yule, an ancestral festival that celebrated the midpoint of winter. Yule wasn't just a holiday, it's a season, stretching anywhere from 12 days to several weeks depending on the time and place. The Norse calendar, of course, was lunar, so dates shifted, much like your cousin's explanation for why they're late to every family dinner. So Yule revolves around the Winter Solstice, which is our longest night of the year. For ancient peoples living in a world without electricity, this wasn't just an astronomical event, it was an emotional and spiritual inflection point. Would the sun return? Would spring come again? Yule was the communal reassurance. Yes, light always returns. So why did we decide to use evergreens? Well, evergreens symbolized endurance, life within death, and the promise of spring. Ancient Germanic peoples decorated homes with pine and fir the same way we do now, except without TikTok tutorials for minimalist minimalist solstice decor. The Yule log was actually an enormous piece of wood meant to burn for days. It wasn't a little decorative log, especially people who like to make it into cakes. It was a tree trunk you could theoretically park a reindeer behind. Burning it symbolized warmth, protection, and the rebirth of the sun. Ashes from the Yule log were saved for blessing fields or protecting homes. And if your fire went out prematurely, bad omen, instant anxiety. Picture the pressure of lighting birthday candles multiplied by 1,000. So, one of the greatest and most dramatic elements of Yule is what is known as the Wild Hunt. This is the spectral procession through the sky led by Odin, sometimes accompanied by gods, the dead, or supernatural beings. Think of it as the original "I hear something on the roof" moment. Scholars believe the mythology of this winter sky rider helped shape later images of Santa Claus, minus the flying undead cavalry. And of course, you can't have a celebration without feasting, toasting, and general merriment. Yule was also deeply social. Communities came together for feast, drinking, gift exchange, sacrifices, storytelling, and sometimes magical divination. Because nothing says holiday spirit like a prophecy after your third cup of mead. These weren't idle parties. They were survival rituals, emotional refreshers, and societal glue. Winter across cultures has always been a time for ceremony. The solstice marks an unmistakable turning point. You don't need a calendar to notice the days finally get longer. You just need to be cold enough for long enough. Let's talk about a couple of the other cultures and how they handled winter's darkest days. We had Saturnalia and Sol Invictus, which is part of Rome. The masters of roads, columns, and midwinter chaos. Saturnalia was one of the most popular Roman festivals, a celebration of the god Saturn. Scholars describe it as a period of gift-giving, reversal of social roles, feasting, and an atmosphere that we might generously call festive, and most realistically call the entire city turning into one big holiday office party. Servants were served by their masters. Gambling was allowed. People wore funny hats. It was a good time. Later, Rome added the celebration of Sol Invictus, the unconquered sun, on December 25th. The symbolism of the sun's rebirth after the solstice is unmistakably parallel to Yule's themes. Also, just one little side note about Saturnalia, it was a big-ass orgy. People were doing it left and right, and they did not care because they were celebrating. In our Celtic traditions, they too were masters of the solstice symbolism. Druidic rituals involved sacred mistletoe, the battle of the Oak King and Holly King, and bonfires lit to guide the sun back. Their love of greenery, holly, ivy, and mistletoe, shows up unmistakably in today's holiday decor, though now it's usually hung with a commandment like kiss under the plastic sprig or else. In East Asia, we have, and I am so sorry, it's Dongji, the Winter Solstice Festival, which focuses on family, unity, warmth, and the balancing of yin and yang. Foods associated with energy, warmth, and harmony, such as Tanguyen, bring people together. It's a celebration of recalibration, honoring the slow ascent of light. Then, Hanukkah, which is the Festival of Lights. Though it wasn't originally connected to the solstice, Hanukkah's placement and its emphasis on light during darkness often interweave culturally with the season's themes. The symbolism is hope, perseverance, and illumination, which resonates universally. Then you have the indigenous peoples. Their solstice traditions within the Americas. Many people observe the winter solstice in meaningful ways before European arrival. Again, I do apologize if I butcher this, but the Haudenosaunee midwinter ceremony focused on dreams, renewal, and the cosmic cycle. Some Plains tribes mark the solstice with special prayers, stories, or communal feasts. Wherever you go in the world, humans respond similarly to solstice. We light candles, we feast, we tell stories, we honor our ancestors, and maybe stay up a little bit later than usual. Because when the world reaches its darkest point, celebrating just feels right. So now let's tackle the big question. How did an ancient pagan festival become intertwined with Christmas? So, was Jesus really born in December? Most scholars agree that the date is more symbolic rather than literal. Early Christians didn't celebrate Jesus' birth at all. The earliest recorded Christmas observance appears in the 4th century, right around the time that Christianity became more institutionalized in Rome. Rather than ban existing festivals, which we all know historically goes extremely poorly, early Christian leaders did something very practical. They placed Christmas next to, and sometimes directly on top of, existing solstice traditions. This wasn't deception. It was a way of cultural adaptation, a way to ease transitions, attach new meaning to familiar celebrations. Because let's be honest, we all know that when Christians try to convert the pagans, it's like, hey, we have this same festival, but it's slightly different. So it's if it acts like a duck and quacks like a duck, it may look like a duck, but sometimes it could be a goose. You just never know, and that's the best way to get people's attention. So the Christmas tree is unmistakably pagan in origin. Northern Europeans used trees and boughs to symbolize life, protection, and renewal. Germanic tribes decorated evergreens with offerings to household spirits. By the Middle Ages, Christians in Germany began incorporating decorated trees into Christmas celebrations. Martin Luther reportedly added candles to a tree after being inspired by seeing stars through branches. Story, though probably apocryphal. Yep. Only thing I know is that putting candles on a tree is more of a fire hazard than anything. Let's talk about the Yule log, which went from bonfire to dessert. The Yule log translated surprisingly smoothly into Christian households, becoming a symbol of warmth and blessing. Eventually in France, the tradition shifted into something more edible, the bûche de Noël, a chocolate log cake. A ritual you can eat is a ritual that tends to stick around. Odin, St. Nicholas, and American advertising gives us one thing. Let's talk about Santa Claus. The character who arguably carries more cultural weight today than nearly any other holiday figure. Santa draws from multiple sources. St. Nicholas is known for his generosity. Odin, the white-bearded sky rider of midwinter lore. Father Christmas, an English personification of holiday cheer. 19th century U.S. illustrators, especially Thomas Nast. And then, of course, Coca-Cola advertising, which standardized the red suit, though they didn't invent it. Blend together mythology, folklore, charity, and capitalism, and voila, we have Santa. Gifts, feasts, and merriment. The practices of communal feasting, generosity, and exchange are far older than Christmas itself. But Christianity infused these customs with new symbolic meaning, transforming midwinter night into something both familiar and theologically distinct. Christmas became a syncretic tradition, not a replacement for Yule, but a layered continuation of it. So let's talk about the journey to America, the rise and fall and rise of Christmas. Because surprisingly, Christmas did dwindle out at one point. Christmas did not arrive in North America as the holly jolly juggernaut we know it today. In fact, early American Christmas history is a little awkward. Puritans disapproved. The Puritans were not a fan of Christmas. Why? Well, there's no biblical evidence for December 25th. There was too much partying, too much pagan influence, and too many opportunities for fun, which was very suspicious. In Boston, Christmas was literally banned for a time. Workers were fined for taking the day off. Imagine taking away someone's holiday break today. Society would crumble faster than a gingerbread house in a humid room. But then the transformation began when immigrants from Germany and the Netherlands brought their beloved traditions. Christmas trees, Yule logs, Sinterklaas, holiday markets, and festive baked goods, which Americans immediately embraced because who doesn't like dessert? Dutch settlers introduced the early version of Santa Claus, or Sinterklaas, which English settlers heard as Santa Claus. Then we have two major works that profoundly shaped American Christmas in literature. We have Washington Irving's writings, which romanticize old world Christmas customs, and then, of course, the Muppet Christmas Carol. I'm sorry. Charles Dickens' A Christmas Carol, which taught readers that generosity and compassion were essential to the season. Dickens essentially... Do what?
If I may, we watched that the other day, and it's still so good.
It's such a good little...
It's so
It is
cute.
one of my favorites.
Yes! Basically, Dickens essentially released the Victorian holiday patch notes. He gave us what we needed and told us exactly what we needed to do for have a holly jolly Christmas. For it is the best time of the year.
It is. It is. It really is.
And then, of course, we have visual media, which has kind of finished the job to make Christmas what it is. Illustrators like Thomas Nast created the first standardized image of Santa, and then later Coca-Cola popularized it globally. By the early 20th century, America embraced Christmas as a family holiday, a commercial event, a cultural touchstone, and a wildly successful economic engine. But in the process, something ancient, something very Yule-like, remained woven into the fabric. So, as the 20th century saw the rise of modern paganism, Wicca, Druidry, and other nature-based traditions, Yule has returned. But not as a historical recreation, but as a living, evolving spiritual practice. Nowadays, we have rituals of rebirth. Since the solstice marks the return of the sun, many rituals will focus on lighting candles, singing or chanting, meditating on new beginnings. It's like a spiritual version of New Year's resolutions, but with fewer gym memberships. Evergreen symbols, trees, wreaths, garlands, pine cones. Pagans have embraced the same symbols found in Christmas traditions, but with explicit connection to nature's cycles. Many decorate trees outdoors as offerings for wildlife. I mean, who hasn't smeared a little bit of peanut butter and birdseed on a pine cone and thrown it outside? Intentional gift giving is something else that has come with Yule. Modern pagans often emphasize handmade gifts, meaningful offerings, blessings, and acts of service. It's less Black Friday doorbusters and more, I carved you a wooden charm and imbued it with good vibes. It's like this, I think this year we're doing a ornament gift exchange at my family's house, and I'm making mine from handcrafted, because to me that means more than me going out and buy an ornament. I'm crocheting it, so it's kind of fun. And, and the Yule log, it lives on. Whether you burn it in a fireplace or represented by candles carved with runes, the Yule log remains central. Some carve intentions or names on the log. Others will use herbs like rosemary or bay for purification. The ashes, if they're available, are kept for blessings throughout the year. And many pagans gather at sunrise on solstice morning to greet the returning light. It's a simple act, but profoundly symbolic. A moment of connection between inner renewal and cosmic rhythm. They, of course, have the music, feasting, and storytelling. Some traditions will include reading ancient myths, honoring our ancestors, sharing seasonal foods, singing folk songs, or even setting our intentions. And it's Yule with a modern heartbeat, rooted in the past, yet relevant to today. So Yule and Christmas today. When we look at Christmas and Yule side by side, we see two holidays with different spiritual cores, but very similar cultural expressions. And why is this? Because both respond to the same human experience. It's the longest night, the hope of the returning sun, the need for warmth and community, and the desire to give, feast, laugh, and remember. When we hang wreaths, light candles, decorate trees, exchange gifts, or watch the winter sky for something magical, we're participating in traditions that span thousands of years. The beauty isn't in choosing one over the other, but appreciating how they. All right, so this brings us to the end of the journey through Yule's ancient fires, the Christmas evolution, and the modern revival of pagan solstice traditions. It doesn't matter if you celebrate Christmas, Yule, both, or something entirely different. You will hopefully find warmth in the darkness and delight in the returning light. And with that being said, we've traveled through Yule from 1,500 years ago to today. Y'all got anything?
Yeah. Love it.
You don't realize how important like old traditions are until you actually start looking at it, and
Yeah.
and you realize that even though a lot of stuff has become modernized and materialized and very, what's the word? There's a word for this, and I can't think of what it is.
Quintessential?
Not even quintessential. It's to do with money, and I can't think of the word is.
Monetized?
Monetized.
It's a lot. It's a lot. I mean, it's like how Valentine's Day didn't really exist until they decided to start doing something with it, and it became one of the biggest monetized holidays out there.
Commercialized.
Commercialized, that's the word I'm looking for. Even though, people are like, I need to get the best gifts that I can for people. If you think about it, you're still thinking about giving gifts to other people regardless of what you do and don't have.
Yeah.
It's like, I may not eat for a week, or excuse me, let me rephrase that. I may eat a box of ramen for a week, but my kids are going to have new clothes, a TV that they wanted, or something like that. And it's a great feeling to know that even then, like, community still comes together, because Christmas, think about how many Christmas parties are out there.
Yeah.
There are tons of them out there. It's true. Christmas is truly that time of year where it is about community.
Christmas is that girl.
It is. And it's not even, and people are like, keep the Christ in Christmas. I get where you're coming from. However,
But consider the source.
but consider your source. It's like, this stuff does come from pagan ritual, and it comes from tradition, and a lot of the traditions that we observe are not just pagan, but you got your Netherlands and your Germanic folk who brought stuff with them too. So it's just amazing how all these traditions have evolved, and we see them as different. We see them different now than what they actually meant when they got started.
Mm.
True.
But speaking of traditions, I think it's time that we dip our toes into what we plan to do for Yule this year and some of our favorite holiday traditions. Right after this quick break. Welcome back, everybody. It's time for us to actually, now that we've talked about Yule and all its festiveness and Christmas and all the traditions that are there, let's discuss some of our own favorite. First off, let's discuss what we plan to do for observance of Yule this year, because there's so many different things you can do, and it doesn't really matter as long as it is meaningful to you, which is what's most important. So, Bramble, you're going to go first because you're the youngest.
Awesome. Oh, well, love that for me. Anyway,
Go for it, mate.
so truthfully, okay. I don't plan on doing anything that much different from what I've always done. So I suppose I could light Loki's candle, but Loki doesn't really have a big stake in Yule. That's more so, I've always seen that as more Odin's thing. He leads the wild hunt. That's Yule is kind of his whole domain. And not to mention, most of my spirits are Christian, so I can't imagine doing anything too wild. Maybe I have considered going to a midnight mass, like just picking a Catholic church somewhere just to have the experience of it. Um, but that's a hard maybe. Um, we're going to family Christmas party. We're baking all this junk food. We've already baked most of it. We have a lot of fudge in our fridge. Um, let's see. Maybe I'll find like a random church to crash a Christmas party, literally. I have this thing where I do this thing where I go around random churches just to like see them for their own sake. I'm not entirely sure where that comes from, but I might do that. So yeah, that's kind of the extent of my plans. Nothing too crazy.
Sounds
All
like
right,
fun.
Raven, what you got, you old lady?
Gosh, well, I have a lot of things because I grew up celebrating Christmas, so we always do like the commercialized holiday on the 25th with the presents and everything. Um, but my husband's family's Chilean, so on the 24th is their version. They called it Pascua. So I get two commercial like presents Christmases that I do with people. And then for Yule, I start that on whenever the winter solstice is. Um, I'll usually get like one of those big 8-hour candles and dress it. Or in like years when I'm really like busy, I will get one that's pre-dressed for Yule, with like the little herbs and the stuff on it. Um, and I'll start burning that at sundown on the day of the solstice. And then it's just like a lot of cooking and sometimes like putting some of the food out as offerings. Lots of like, I like music, so I do a lot of like Christmas music. Play it on the piano, listen to it, sing.
Mariah Carey, right?
No, surprisingly. Um, no. I like more like Irish Christmas and stuff like that.
Sick.
Yeah. I wish we had more like Yule songs because the few that I found are kind of interesting. But yeah, it's fun. It's nostalgia. It's just trying to spend time with family. A lot of like the social aspect, connecting. Nothing crazy though. I kind of want to do something like an actual like bonfire someday, but they won't let me do that in the backyard. So, you know, c'est la vie. What about you, Foxfire?
Hmm. So traditionally, my family, so for Yule, I'm probably, uh, this will be technically kind of my first Yule really celebrating, quote unquote. However, things have just been kind of busy. I'm probably just going. I have Christmas trees at work that I set up. I actually didn't do any Christmas decorating this year because reasons. Um, and by the time I realized, I was like, "Oh crap! I didn't decorate." I said, "Okay, I'm not decorating this year because it's a week to Christmas now. There's no point." Um, so basically, I have two little trees set up that are little birch trees at work, and I have like little ornaments and stuff on it. I may just leave them on all weekend because solstice is over the weekend. Um, Probably light some incense, take a minute to kind of reflect about the year. Um, have a huge orgy and celebrate Saturnalia like you're supposed to.
Okay.
Joking, not going to do that. But no, just probably just take time to kind of reflect and think about the year and like how I want things to change for next year because it's that time of year, right? Um, but then of
I feel
course,
like that.
huh?
I feel like that one TikTok audio that's like, "Settle down."
Yeah, pretty much. But then for Christmas, usually Christmas Eve, we get together with my parents and we'll have food and open presents and, talk and have fun. And then on Christmas Day, we go to my grandparents, and that's about it. It's it's a very chill Christmas considering Thanksgiving is a whole bunch of moving.
Yeah.
So we keep it kind of low key, and just enjoy it. So
I'm gonna be
I'll
so
probably use
real.
Yule to reflect is what my plan is.
I like
Yeah,
it.
I'm gonna be so real. It has been a rough year.
It has been an
Um,
insane year.
since November of last year, that has been crazy.
Spot the timing.
Yeah, yeah. Everything went into retrograde at one point. I swear.
Just a year of Mercury retrograde.
Oh my god, it's about how it felt. I mean,
Basically.
multiple planets came out of retrograde this year, like that have been
Huh.
in retrograde for like the past 15.
True.
Wow.
So it's honestly, I think that's probably like these planets are like, oh, we're getting ready to come out of it, so let's be as chaotic as possible, people. And yeah,
I mean, I'm all for a little chaos, but this is not a little chaos. This is a lot of
But
chaos.
this is like, goddamn.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, pretty much. So so I'm hoping that it's like I've told a lot of people, they're like, so how was 39? I said 39 sucked. 40's got to be better. And for the most part, 40's been better. Um, uh, but I will admit, and I guess tell everybody, unfortunately, a decision had been made on Monday where our 16-year-old pupper had to be put down. It was really difficult and rough for us to make that decision. And probably a part of my Yule will be celebrating her life slightly,
Aw.
because she was such a large part of our family for so long. Um, my partner is going through is that was really their baby and their first pet outside of like family pet. So it's hit him a really hard, and it's hit me a little bit. So we're working through it. So I think that's kind of why
16,
I want.
16 years. That's a good long life.
That is a good long life, and that's even
Mhm.
what even the vets were like. That's a long life. She's obviously been happy and taken care of, and like so it was hard. It was a difficult choice, but it was one that needed to be made because, um, yeah, like I said, it was a sad moment. So to those who, if you wish, who are listening out there, if you want to send positive prayers and thoughts, please feel free to do so. That's great. Um, I'm more so just mentioning this because it's the reason to celebrate the new year getting ready to come up because it's new beginnings and it's going to be a new beginning without her, but it will be she will forever be loved. Like there's no doubt of that in this lifetime. Um, so yeah, like I've even talked to Raven and been like, "Can you talk to Anubis for me?" And like I have been I have been assured that she is good and that she is the bouncing ball of energy that she has always been, and it puts a warm spot in my heart to know that she is in a better place and not in pain.
Yeah.
Because when I say that it was very quick, it was extremely quick. The doctor had only pushed about half of the solution in before she had relaxed and gone. So,
That's such a good thing, though.
Yeah.
yeah.
It's not fun if they linger.
Yeah, so like she didn't fight, and we're very glad she didn't fight. I think and we think she picked up on what was happening when we got her in there.
Oh,
So yeah, we miss her. Hopefully, we'll be getting her cremains soon to bring home, and just always keep her in our thoughts and hearts because she was a very special pupper. Anyway, to get past the sadness of Yule,
Part of your family, though, and that's kind of like what the spirit of Yule is about, is like taking care of your family, being connected. So even if someone's passed on, I feel like you still think about them. It's not just at Samhain when you're like, oh yeah, I had these people or things in my life. It was I think that's a thing throughout the, what is it? They call it the dark half of the year, is you think about like, passed on family members, pets, and they're with you when you're celebrating and connecting. You have your grandma's recipes and all that kind of stuff.
yeah.
right? So I think and I think that's something that I think everybody can take away from it who's listening, just in general. Like, the dark half of the year is dark for a reason. It is a reason for a reflection. Persephone only ate those 6 seeds for a reason. For the 6 months of the year that she's in Hades or the underworld. So, it is good reflection time. Maybe not do a lot of shadow work unless you really need to do it. But but it's a good time to reflect on those who have gone before us. What'd you say, Raven? I'm sorry.
I said, don't do shadow work this time of year unless you're prepared for it. Like, if it's your first experience with it, the dark part of the year, let's look at this. The sun isn't coming out as often. You're going to start having seasonal depressive disorder. That's a thing. Look it up.
Yeah,
And you're just going to be generally down in the dumps for a lot of different reasons. Sure, there's like good things that are happening. There's parties, there's get-togethers, but like your body isn't used to not having as much sunlight, not having as long of a time of sunlight. So if you go into that and you start trying to do shadow work for the first time at that time of year,
Yeah, maybe
probably gonna
don't.
go into a depressive episode, like just based off
yeah,
of my own experiences. Think
yeah,
about it, process. Think about when you want to do that.
yeah, yeah. So this is a great time of year for reflection, but not actually diving into the reflection.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, like, maybe I'll look at this later. Like you were saying, Foxfire, it's looking at, well, what do I want to do with the next year? Make your
yes,
little list.
it's like I didn't do as good as I thought I was. How can I change it? And then you work from there. So that being said, since we've talked about kind of what we plan to do for Yule, let's talk about some of our favorite Christmas memories and traditions that we have in our family because I think in our respective families because that's always important. I think is to have those. You know what I'm gonna call it? What it is? They're rituals, is what it is.
Yeah.
Where you do these things with your family and friends for a reason, and it always feels good when you do it. And I think it's appropriate for us to talk about that. So
So, something that my family would do, and I fought till the end for this stupid thing. And, well, it's not stupid, it's important. But we would sit around my grandfather and he would read Jesus' birth from the Bible. And it was nice. It was boring, but it was the kind of boring where you knew it was good to be there. It, it's hard to explain. But I fought for a long time to make that work. But then he got old, he got brittle, and he got plaque on the brain. So that kind of fizzled out. Um, we have a very kind of strict schedule. We have my mother's parent. We do a celebration with my mom's family on Christmas Eve, and then a celebration with my dad's family on Christmas Day. So there have been a lot of family shuffling around. There have been a lot of rearrangements in our family, so we're probably going to have to adjust those a little bit, but it should stay the same. And that's just the structure is what I remember the most. So yeah.
Well, I suppose I'll steal it if you're done.
Yes, I'm done.
Okay. I like that. Like having like the different time to spend with different family makes sense. Like that's what's important is like spending time with family. And my family, when I was growing up, we lived out in the Pacific Northwest. And so every year around Christmas, they would have um, this ballet production of the Nutcracker. And we would always go. Like every year, we'd go to one of the showings of it. And that was kind of like the start of our Christmas season, was we would go see the Nutcracker. Well, no, that's a lie. The start of our Christmas season was my mom putting the Christmas tree up the day after Thanksgiving. Um, so we put the Christmas tree up, and then the
We
next
did
day.
that this year. The second Thanksgiving was over, we put it up.
See, my mom's changed it as the years have gone on, especially as she's noticed what Disney does with their Christmas. They put it up the
Mm,
first week after Halloween as soon as it's November. So she's like, well, if Disney can do it, we're gonna do it.
exactly.
So it's gotten progressively pushed back. We've kept the it can't happen before Halloween though. But yeah, we'd put the Christmas tree up like right after Thanksgiving, and then we would go see the Nutcracker. When we were little, um, my parents got tired of having to be like, oh, well, the girls want this, or the girls want that, or this, that, and the other. So they created a tradition when we were younger that we would get a poster board. And you know all those annoying as heck magazines that you get throughout the Christmas shopping season?
Of
Finger
course.
Hut.
They would pass those to us and we would cut out things that we wanted or thought were cool. And we would put them on the poster. And if one of our relatives called and was like, oh, well, what are the girls into this year? They'd be like, here you go. Here's the list. So we did that for like the longest time when I was growing up, and it was hilarious because we'd set them out and we'd watch Christmas movies, like older Christmas movies, like White Christmas, Christmas in Connecticut, like all those. My mom loves them, so we'd
Holiday Inn.
watch those. Oh yes, of course. Um,
That movie has not aged at well,
no,
but
it
it's
hasn't.
still so fun.
I would still keep it though, because it's like something like that's the anthropologist in me being like, no, we're not going to cover up. This is what people thought was okay.
It's yeah, yeah.
But yeah, no, we would watch like all those kind of movies and do that and like listen to Christmas music and until everybody like started moving apart, like literally like states apart, um, we would do a gingerbread house decorating thing with some of my relatives and like a couple of my parents' friends, and we would bake gingerbread houses and then decorate them. And then like the sugar cookie baking. But really, the only things that have stuck together now that everybody's like so far apart are just like the watching the movies, decorating the tree, listening to music. The last couple years have been like a little crazy with people moving and doing things, so we haven't even got to do the baking, which is one of my favorite things. So next year for sure.
Next year.
It's interesting, like when you add a partner or a spouse into the mix,
Yeah,
because
how
then
things can
also
change.
you meld in their family's traditions too. So, like I was saying earlier, I'll have what used to be like Christmas Eve for my family, where we would finish up like any present wrapping. We would make, oh, my mom would make these amazing shrimp. They're like lemon and garlic and butter. And then she'd make another kind that was like spicy, and it was so good. Um,
Shrimp?
shrimp, literally. Yeah,
Interesting.
they are so good. I cannot. I loved them, but that's also because we were like near the coast, so we really fresh seafood is like my favorite thing on the planet. But we
So
did that.
me and my family were, we're white trash. So we had ham and cheese sliders.
Oh, but that sounds good though.
It's always really good.
No, but we used to do that for Christmas Eve, and now, like I said earlier, like my husband's family does Pasqua, which is celebrated on the 24th. So now we'll go over to, usually we go over to his brother's place and we'll all get together and like it's kind of like a potlucky style dinner where you'll like bring an item of food and then everybody just like chills and hangs out and has fun and then at some point like they distract the kids and like a couple of the adults run in and like put all the presents around the Christmas tree.
Aw, that's
And
cute.
it's adorable. Their oh, what was it? Their dad used to actually be able to like get up on the roof and like walk around in a Santa costume.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I think I saw that just one Christmas. But yeah, it was cool. What about you, Foxfire?
I have no traditions. I'm joking. Um,
I was
Uh-huh.
about to say,
I say I'm 40 years old. I got plenty of traditions. Um, so I guess to start, it's it's funny how some of the traditions don't change and sometimes they do. But I think the first Christmassy thing I can remember is going to my great grandmother's and celebrating Christmas as like the whole family. No, we did that Christmas Day. No, Christmas Eve. No, because I don't remember which one it was. Oh my God, it was so long ago.
Alzheimer's. That's what you get when you get old. Alzheimer's.
You know what? Back off.
he has a couple more decades before that. Hold on.
Right? It could be syphilis settling in. Who knows? Um, Lord have mercy. Anyway, no, I believe it was actually Christmas Eve is when we would go to my great grandmother's house and actually celebrate because we'd all get together. She actually had the traditional like it was a flocked Christmas tree, and then it was also covered in like 16 pounds of tinsel
Oh wow.
with like the bulbs that were like 16 inches long and like huge on the
My
tree.
word.
Like grandma had traditional Christmas tree. And we'd open gifts and like all the family would get together and do stuff. And that was, it would kind of change. It would go between Christmas Eve and Christmas Day just to kind of depended. Um, but the first thing that I think is funny because Raven mentioned it is when the tree goes up. My mother would do the same thing. She'd put the Christmas tree up on the day after Thanksgiving. Because, and I think it's honestly because your parents have like a 4 day weekend. They've got time to clean and decorate and pack and put everything away so they have room to do
Yeah.
the decorating.
Mhm.
So it makes sense. Um, because, so my mom would always put the tree up on Christmas, or we would do it Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving, after we all had recuperated from Thanksgiving lunch, we'd all get up and we'd start cleaning and like moving the boxes inside the house for like decorating and everything. If they got a live Christmas tree, they would usually get it like the second week of December because they want to make sure it like stayed alive until Christmas.
A
Um,
lot of Christmas trees. I miss those.
right. But then after that, but when we were using fake trees, when I say my family was not well to do, when I was a kid, my family was not well to do. Our family's first Christmas tree was literally one that one of the banks threw out, and my daddy saw it sitting outside, and he asked if he could take it.
Well, it's okay.
Right, so it got repurposed and it got reused, and it was handed down to me when I got my first apartment. And I looked at my daddy and I said, I don't know how in the hell you put this tree together every year because this is a pain in the ass. Because it was one of those where each tier was a different level, and you had to match up the color on the end of the branch to the level it was supposed to go to, and then
Oh,
you had to fluff
jeez.
the tree. Then you had to
Oh,
put the lights on the tree. It was a pain in the ass.
that reminds me of the first one we got when my sister's asthma got bad.
Oh my
That's
god, we after that Christmas, I threw that tree out. I said, "Fuck it, I will go buy a real fake tree." Um, I actually ended up starting doing real trees after that when I started living in my when I while I was living on my own. Um, so we'd put the Christmas tree up on Thanksgiving, on the day after Thanksgiving, Black Friday. We would usually let it. We My mama and daddy would fluff it, and then that Saturday is when we would actually decorate it because they wanted to give the tree time to kind of like fall out a little bit. But my mother would decorate the whole inside the house. She'd have a Christmas village set up. She would put up the stockings. All the stockings that we have are actually generational. They were originally my mother's parents, and her sisters. It was originally
Oh
their
wow.
stockings. So me and my sister I have my mama's stocking. My sister's stocking went missing, and we have no clue what ever happened to it. So my mother actually ended up crocheting her a new stocking
Aw.
so it would match the rest of the pattern. My dad has my grandfather's stocking, and my mom has her mother's stocking. So it's just like it's perfect. And each year my mother's like, "You need to take your stocking." I said, "The hell I am. It stays here until you die." Um, because that was made by by my biological grandmother, and I want my mother to keep it as long as she can.
Yeah.
So, it means a lot to me that it stays there too, because then it really does feel like home for the holidays.
Aw.
So we would do that. Of course, it would then be the mad dash to Christmas. So it was always fun watching the Christmas presents start to kind of like gather underneath the Christmas tree, because it always was like, "Oh my God, watch the gifts, watch the gifts." Um, After my great grandmother passed away, my grandparents would actually do the family Christmas on Christmas Eve, and we would do it at night. And my grandmother would make like a butt ton of finger foods, and we'd have family and friends over. We'd open gifts, do the whole 9 yards. Um, and then my aunts would start getting wise because they're like, "Oh my God, we want everybody to go home so we can all go to bed." Me and my sister and one of my cousins were the only three in the family who would be there who were kids. So they would take us outside, and they're like, "Look, there's Rudolph's nose." And that became a thing every year. So yeah, so we'd go home after Christmas Eve at my grandparents', and they would let us open one gift that night. That would be from my parents, and then we would go to bed. And of course, you're a kid, you're super excited because Santa Claus is coming, so you can't sleep. Um,
Yeah.
and so of course, as we got older, and the magic of like make of Santa Claus kind of dispersed a little bit. Um, Even though the spirit is very much still there, it became my parents would actually at one point, when they would put the gifts out from Santa, they would sit them on the couch. So they always
Mm.
told us, "Don't wake us up before 6 o'clock." And we're like, "Okay." The gifts were unwrapped on the couch. Me and my sister would wake up at 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning, turn the lights on, and see what we got,
Oh my god.
and then go back to our bedrooms and go back to sleep. Um, so, and then we'd wake up at like 6, 7 in the morning, or we'd wake everybody up at like 6:30 in the morning, see all the gifts. Mama would cook a little bit of breakfast, and Daddy would be
And
screaming about the gifts on some level. So, and we
and you
all,
just pretended to not know.
yeah, because it was still exciting, because even though you knew what you got, you finally got a chance to actually like look at it and mess with it.
Yeah.
Um, and then as we got older, of course, Mama's like, here's what we're going to do. We don't do anything with your grandparents anymore. So when we were still living at home and we were like teenagers, Mama would wrap up all the gifts and say to so and so from Santa. So we know which these are Santa Claus gifts. This is from Mama and Daddy, even though they all came
Mm.
from the same place. Um, so we would get it open like 2 or 3 gifts Christmas Eve, and then the next day we get to open up all the Christmas presents. I will tell you, after we realized that Santa Claus is your parents, I'm sorry to tell you that, Bramble. I know you probably still believe. Um,
Oh, shut up.
but after that happened, I will tell you, I think everybody in that house slept a lot better on Christmas Eve.
Yeah. I mean, of course you do.
so,
But it's like, okay, can we stop pretending now?
right. So it very much
Like,
became, so we still kept traditions that we wanted to keep alive. Like, we all decorated the tree together. Of course, we would decorate the tree, and Mama would go back and reorganize every single ornament on the tree. Um, which now what I do is I'll decorate my tree, send her a picture, and be like, "Is this straight?" And she'll look at it, and she's like, "You need to move this one like a little bit to the right, and you're good. Um,
I love that.
but it takes practice because as a kid, you want to show everything at the front of the tree, and my parents were like, no, you got to put some stuff on the back to like even it out some. Um,
Well, and that's where you put the ugly ornaments that you don't want to give away.
right, right,
Unless you have a cat, and that's where you hide the ornaments that you don't want get broken.
yeah, yeah. So, of course, the biggest thing was my sister would always put the topper on the tree because they had a little blonde angel that we put on the top of the tree. So that's what my sister would put on top because she was a little blonde. So it kind of made sense.
Oh, I see.
Um, Along with that, this is before we had all the streaming services and everything. Black and white television, sitting in my parents' bedroom, we would watch Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer and
Aw.
Santa Claus is Coming to Town, Frosty the Snowman, like the old marionette stop action movies.
I love
Oh,
it.
absolutely.
Yeah,
Those are
like
so
that
fun.
was a thing that we did. Like it would come on CBS, and it's like Rudolph comes on at 8 o'clock. You better go watch it. And it's like, oh my god! And we'd like run back there to go watch it and everything. It was fun. Like we enjoyed it. And then of course things have slightly changed as we've all gotten older. My sister got married. She has two families she has to appease for Christmas. I don't really do anything with my partner's side of the family. They've never been a huge Christmassy crowd or holiday crowd, which is okay. Which is why I make sure that my husband goes to all of my holiday events because it's like you're
Mhm.
going because you need the holiday love. Come on. Um,
It's-
so it's now it's we meet at my parents for Christmas Eve. We finally told my mom because it used to be we'd have a lot of people come over and like celebrate Christmas together, and we just finally looked at my mom and we're like, stop taking 4 days to cook all these finger foods. Let's just have a Christmas meal, like a Christmas Eve meal. We'll cook some kind of dinner together and we'll all have dinner together. We did that for the first time last year. She made homemade tamales and I learned how to make them with her.
nice.
Nice.
So I'm actually going to attempt making them this upcoming year to see how that goes. She only ever makes tamales during the wintertime because she says it's too damn hot to be doing all that during the summertime. Um, Something else that was tradition too. When my parents both drank, they would make a mixed drink, and me and my sister were allowed to have a sip of alcohol on Christmas Eve.
Aw.
When we hit 10, we had to be double digit. Um, that was the only caveat. You had to be double digit, and so that became a thing. Um,
That's cute.
it is so. But then my sister now she has to go to like two different families on Christmas Eve before she gets to my parents. And then Christmas Day, she's got like two or three things she has to do Christmas Day. And she's even said, she's like, I don't get a damn break on Christmas. She's like, the kids don't get to enjoy any of their new toys. And I'm like, that's a true statement. Um,
I mean,
so we've, hmm?
that's why my mom, as soon as she had kids, she was like, I'm done traveling. If you want to come see us for the holidays, you come to where the children are, so I stopped having to pack around little tiny humans with car seats and diaper bags and all these extra things.
I will say that is another Christmas Day memory because my grandparents lived right behind us, basically, or we lived behind them. Is that Christmas morning they would show up about 8 o'clock and have coffee with my parents and like ask us what we got for Christmas and like be excited with us and everything.
Aw.
It's
So
fun.
we were the only grandkids at the time, so it made sense.
Mm.
But then once all the other grandbabies got involved, they kind of stopped doing that because it's like we can't go see everybody. So they would just call you and was like, "Merry Christmas, what'd you get?" And then we go see everybody at lunch and stuff. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, there's a lot of a couple times we tried go look at Christmas lights in neighborhoods. It only happened like once or twice, and then we stopped doing it. Um, and then then when we started using live trees, that was the thing that we would do as a family is we'd go look at a live tree together and pick it out. Which
Mm.
Daddy mainly did the picking out. Because he knew what he wanted for a live tree, so it was always
Exactly.
fun. So it. I think there's not so much of the tradition there, but more of there are a lot of really good Christmas memories that exist.
Hmm.
Um, And it's like, I don't have kids. I'm probably never going to have kids just because of things and stuff. So I won't ever be able to experience the looking at someone smiling on Christmas morning when they get gifts. So that's why I really try to like focus on trying to figure out what kind of Christmas celebration I want to do, um, or how I want to celebrate, because it's it's like we even say, it's the community of bringing everybody together. So how can you bring people together? And used to be I would throw a Christmas, or not Christmas party, but I would have like a holiday, like Friendsgiving kind of thing, like right after Thanksgiving and like a week or two before Christmas. Invite everybody over. I'd have everything decorated. Tell people bring your favorite finger food, and we do like finger foods and talk and laugh and have a good time. Um, so yeah, it's sometimes you can create your own memories, and sometimes you can't.
The more things change, the more they stay the same.
Yes. So now what I do is there's Christmas movies that I want and have to watch every year, that I make sure that I watch them, and that is the thing. Christmas, my mom, we typically will watch The Grinch, one of the versions of The Grinch, because there's 3 different versions out. We'll watch one of those on Christmas Eve at my parents' while we're waiting for my sister to get there, and then as soon as it hits 8 o'clock Christmas Eve, we turn it to TNT, and it's the Christmas Story up until it's over, because Christmas Story is my father's favorite Christmas movie.
As it should be.
You'll shoot your eye out, kid.
Yeah. Our favorite quote is oh, what was it they said? Hang on.
Fragile must be
So
applied.
poisoning.
Oh my god. But yeah, I have really good memories for Christmas. Like, we all enjoyed ourselves. And even now, I think it hit me when I was about 15 or 16. I was learning how to do calligraphy, and I had really wanted a Game Boy that year for Christmas. And in my head, and somehow in my head, I got it that my aunt was going to get it for me. And I don't know why I thought my aunt would spend over $120 on a Game Boy Advance. And I opened it, and it was a bottle of calligraphy ink.
Aw.
And for a split second, I was angry. I'm like, why would she send me a cheap ass bottle of calligraphy ink?
It was a Game Boy inside, wasn't it?
No, no, calligraphy ink is like, it's a bottle.
Wow.
Yeah. So I was like, why would she send that to me? And then I stopped. And I think I was 17 when this happened, actually, now that I think about it. Because I was walking from my grandparents' house, and I stopped and I thought about it for a second. I said, you know what? She thought about me. She knew this is something I was doing. And she was like, you know what? It's nothing big, but at least it's something. And that's when I realized that Christmas was no longer about what could I get. It's about what could I give.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You know, and
He has that transition eventually.
yeah, and I mean, there's still some times where it's like, here's my Christmas list. This is what I want. And my parents are like, there's some high dollar items on this. I'm like, yes, there is. I said, however, if I can't get them, it's not going to hurt my feelings. It's fine. Like, my mother picked on me because I had Legos on it.
Mm.
Because I've gotten really big into the botanical Legos.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, yeah. I said, but it's the only way I can keep flowers alive.
Dang, maybe I need to get into those.
Right. I mean, they start about $30-$40 and go up in price depending on what you get. But for me, it means a lot. But for me, it's calming. It's nostalgic from when I was a kid. But they're pretty. It's something I could put up and be like, oh yeah, I put that together. You know, so, and I told her, I said, it's not because I'm trying to recapture my childhood. Well, I mean, that's what it is. I'm trying to recapture my childhood, but it's something that's simple. You could buy me that one box of Legos and I'd be happy. Because once I get done putting it together, I have it on display. It makes me think of the person who gave it to me, and it makes me feel good.
True, very true.
So it's kind of, I mean, most of the one, I'm looking right now. I'm looking straight at my Lego collection right now. 1, 2, 3, 4 of them were gifts, and they make me feel really good to know who they came from.
Oh.
And The rest of them I bought because I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I have 11 sets up there, and I've bought my own.
Jeez.
But well, I've got the orchid, the hibiscus, the plum blossoms, the wildflower bouquet, a chrysanthemum, the fall centerpiece, the bonsai, the poinsettia, the Japanese cherry blossom bonsai, and the lucky bamboo. So it's basically all the floral ones they've had come out that are under a certain amount of money, um, are sitting up there. I was actually told by somebody, they're like, "What Lego sets do you want for Christmas? Like your top 10?" Okay, here you go. And I had to ask the question, "What is the price limit?" Because some of those Legos get expensive.
They can.
Like the one Lego set I really wanted and I have wanted for so long is the Hocus Pocus house set.
Yeah.
It's $250,
No.
Jeez Louise.
Wow.
but no one's ever gotten it for me, and I think it's out now. Like it's done.
Yeah.
So,
It discontinued?
it's basically their limited edition for some of those things. So it's basically once it's done, it's done. They may bring it back one day, but I'm like, I missed it. It's okay. But yeah, no, it's like I said, the gifts themselves are more important because it means that someone thought of me and they gave something to me that's something I'm interested in. So it's a good feeling. It's a warm feeling. It reminds you that you're not alone, especially during the darkest time of the year.
That's true.
Well,
So, was there anything else we want to talk about for Yule Christmas memories or anything crazy like that?
nothing comes to mind.
Covered pretty much everything.
Oh yeah, I think this was, it's like we always say, it's a good episode. This was a really good reflective episode because it's that time of
Yeah.
year. Yule is coming, it'll be gone soon, and next thing you know, it's the spring will be back and the sun will be rising and we'll have lots and lots of time to do stuff outside and it'll be summertime heat and we'll be sweating through our underwear.
And I'll be a puddle on
Yeah.
the floor.
Oh yeah, well you're the one in Florida, it's your fault.
I know.
So, before we leave, first off, thank you everyone for listening. We do hope that you have a happy, safe, warm, and bright Yule season, holiday season, no matter what you celebrate, whether it's Christmas, Hanukkah, Diwali, or Kwanzaa, or whatever else is out there. Like, there's so many different holidays that take place around the winter season. It's crazy. We hope you guys have a very warm, safe, and bright holiday. And with that, let's do our closing prayers, and we'll see you guys again some other time. Raven, you started, so you go first.
Oh, good. This one's not as long, I promise. The fire burns, the dark abides, the light slowly grows. What was spoken finds its place, what was carried is set down. By earth beneath me, fire before me, I stand witness to the dark and the silence it carries as the seasons turn again.
Bramble.
Loki la Fayarson. Keep us safe in our homes. Bless us with peace and prosperity.
Freya, lady of shining tears and fierce love. As the solstice night softens into dawn, we honor your presence at our hearth. Let your blessings carry us forward. Let your light grow with the rising sun. And let your wisdom guide the path ahead. Hail Freya and blessed Yule. The hearth glows low, and the solstice trail fades into silent stillness. Yet the hallowing bough keeps singing softly beneath the evergreens. Join us again, dear friends, when the winds shift and the quiet mysteries of winter beckon. The sun will rise again. Blessed be.